Welcome to the Good Karma Sportfishing Podcast. I'm your host, Captain Ryan Van Fleet. This podcast covers sport fishing here in the Florida Keys, as well as fishing stories and tips in general. You can check out my website, goodkarmasportfishing.com, for more information about my fishing charters, courses, and blogs. In the meantime, thanks for being here. Let's get started. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. I wanted to talk to you guys today about the importance of being organized, prepped, and having the right gear. Now, do you ever find yourself thinking like, man, maybe I shouldn't have bought that, or I wish I would have, or you go to the dock, you're like looking at the other guy's stuff that he has on his boat, and you're like, oh man, did I bring enough gear? Do I have the right stuff? So should I buy what that guy has? Or you find yourself carting back like 15 rods that you never used and you only use 3. So there's this meme going around on Facebook and on TikTok or whatever. I think it's like a wife, and she's like ripping on her husband for having too much fishing shit, like too many rods. And it goes like this: you give a man a fish and he eats for a day, teach a man to fish and he buys gear and stuff and he doesn't eat it. Something like that. But it's not true if you're listening to the right advice, okay? So let me tell you a story. Back in my corporate days, I did more for less, and I automated equipment, and if I buy a piece of equipment, then I can bring it in, it can do the work of 3 people. So that's what I did, and that's how I saved money for corporations. I automated pieces of equipment. I looked for more efficient ways to do things. And if I could use one guy that could, do the work of 3 by buying him a piece of equipment that, could do that, then I justified that. So that's how I look at fishing gear, okay? And then I've always looked at it like that. So when I was first started, I got lots of advice from different people about rods and reels. And I saw you need a rod that's rigged for this so you can cast to this fish when you're ready. Or you need a rod that you can just yellowtail with. Or you need a rod to pitch for dolphin. And I was like, why? And I questioned people, like, why? Well, because this is how we do it. This is how it's always been done. So I started working with adrenaline rods. When Melinda and I had Jimmy Jigs USA, I was fortunate enough to meet Brandon, and he was just like starting out in the rod industry and building rods for kayakers and stuff. So I was working with some kayakers, and the kayakers had very small spaces. They needed rods that were multipurpose, okay, that they could switch over to jigging and popping. They could switch over to casting for dolphin. And I was like, okay, this all makes sense based on what I used to do in the corporate world. So what I did was I worked with Brandon, and we worked on rod blanks and stuff for multi-purpose rods. A rod that could be used for yellowtail fishing, a rod that could be used for pitching for dolphin, and boom. Or a rod that could be used for light bottom fishing for mutton snappers, and for flatlining for yellowtails. And then I eliminated 3 rods down to 1. Okay, so there you go. And then what I did was we had rods built for mutton snappers, and that I could transfer over to trolling for wahoo during wahoo season. So we did that as well. So, and I also looked for reels that were extremely lightweight, that could hold a lot of capacity, that were fast, that I can convert over to trolling rods when I needed them, and add top shots onto that I can convert over to dolphin rods. So that saved me a whole bunch of time and a whole bunch of money. And the initial investment on getting the rod was like, everybody's like, well, if I spend $250 on a rod, then everybody's like, well, that's too much money. But then I look at the guy next to me, and he's got 6 rods. And I was like, well, how much did you spend for all that stuff? $500. And I was like, and then the guy stops dead in his tracks. And he says, well, that makes total sense then. So, listen, I know that there's a lot of confusion out there. And the best thing to do is you just got to step back and take a moment and look at everything. It's hard because you're watching YouTube, and YouTubers are, they're mentioning that you need this and you need that and you need this and you need that. Well, in all reality is that a really good fisherman doesn't need all that stuff. And you don't know if that YouTuber is promoting gear that he's being sponsored by so he gets a piece of it. So you don't know that. So yeah, it's a new world out there. So you just got to take a step back before you buy something. So I have a new course right now, and it's the 8-week mutton snapper and grouper live bottom, 200 feet plus. Okay, and what we're doing in that course is I am showing the guys exactly what they need. Okay, and I'm showing them how many rods I have and the type of rod, and I give them various options to get there, either stand up or bent butt. And I'm showing them exactly what they need to buy, what's going to withstand the abuse, and how to get there. Okay, so whether that be custom or through another vendor, that's what I'm giving them the options and helping them get there to where they're not overwhelmed. And a couple of guys that have been with me for a very long time, it's fun to watch. It's like, yeah, I grabbed my two bottom rods that I got, and that's where I'm at. And I just had another message from another guy. He got all set up, and I know that guys that have fished with me have ordered all my setups as well. 90% of them, they get on the boat, then they call Brandon, and and then Brandon tells me, hey, they got their setups. So also too, they use the rods. They know that, hey, this is what they're for, and it's fun to see the guys come back and says, oh, didn't we use this rod for mutton fishing and we're catching wahoo on it? It's like, yep. Wow. Okay. Well, that totally makes sense then. So, and then now they're like, these guys were trucking like major. They were trucking these guys were bringing like 20 rods with them on the trip. And some of them, because the people told them they needed it. And it's the same with slow pitch too. You're being sold on all these different slow pitch rods and by the experts. Well, that's what they get paid to do. So if you're looking for that kind of stuff, then also too, that's what I'm helping out with the guys in the courses as well. And also too, it's about another story that I want to share is when to go and try something. And there's just some days you just it's not right. You shouldn't try it. You should just abort it. So that's a big thing. It's like, I've always been this person that is if I'm going to go try for that, it's best to stick with that. If I know the conditions are going to be right, and I have a couple backup plans with me, a couple rods to do something with, and then I'll do that. So this time of year, it's always good if you wanted the backup plan on a nice day when it's flat is to have your dolphin rods. You need, basically with dolphin fishing, I'll just give you some hints with that, is not some hints but some tips. With dolphin fishing, you have 4 rods. That's all you need. You get your 2 rigger rods and you got your 2 flats. And really when you get on them and you're on birds, all you're going to be able to set out is 2 and get underneath them. So, but if you're going dolphin fishing, everybody wants to do the spinning rods. And I do recommend having 4 set up for dead bait, because you break off and then you get one that swallows it. And you're you can't retie fast enough. And then you have 1 that's set up with a popper. That's it. So you got your 4 trollers, and then you got your 4 spinning rods for pitch rods, 4 to 5. If you want to bring an extra for the popper, I recommend a popper. I really do. Those are fun. So, but if you're just going out, that's what I do, because I'm a charter boat captain and I gotta have some backup rods for me. But if you're just going out to have a fun day, and I would recommend, when I go dolphin fishing by myself with nobody else, I take my 4 trolling rods and I take 3 pitch rods. That's it. That's all I need. Because you're going to have, if you're underneath the fish, you're going to throw out a bait, you're going to catch the fish, you're going to hold him alongside the boat, and then you got 2 backup rods. So And for your popper, I recommend that you get your treble hooks taken off of there and get a BKK replacement hook. You need a wide gap BKK replacement, one single hook on the back end. That's all you need. So that way, the trebles are a pain in the ass when you're in a school of dolphin. So that's my advice to you guys. Again, it's dolphin season, and then you just have like two bottom fishing rods with you that you can have. If you want to stick those in your gunnels and your front, like put a couple rod holders in the front of your boat and just take them with you, and then you can use those for your. You can hit a mutton spot on the way in, or stop and hit a mutton spot on the way out. Something fun, hit a wreck and break up your day a little bit, or an electric to make some deep dropping. Just you can use it, and also too you can use the electric for both. So if you just want to stop and do a meat drop, and then bring your electric, and then you can set it up for doing your for your deep drop, or for your mutton fishing, or that kind of stuff. So I don't care. I like electric reels, and it's your boat. So don't let anybody put down the type of fishing you do. And I've been really looking at myself hard with that. I want people it's all about anytime you're fishing, it's all good. So I want you to be as organized as possible, so that way you can have a good time out there. Like I said, I've got the new mutton snapper and grouper fishing course. New mutton snapper, live bottom, and course out there, deep water, 200 plus feet. It's very difficult to hit a lot of spots. I'm going to cut a lot of time off learning the currents, and it's very cool how I'm going to be presenting this information to you guys. So I can't go into how you're going to see it, but it's going to be. I'm very much looking forward to it. I just finished lesson 1, and the Q&A gets released on the 9th. So today's the 9th, and nobody had any questions because the comments were that I covered everything. So it's like, okay, that's awesome. So next week is the next lesson, and we're going to dig into the nitty gritty. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I cannot wait for next week. I am so stoked. I love presenting information to these guys, and I love seeing the results. Some of the results, these guys have caught a lot more fish, and some of them are catching more than the fishing guides that have been in it for over 10 years. That they did an amazing job this week. So proud of them. They kicked ass. I gave them some new baits to use that work better than Speedos. So, and that's the kind of stuff that I'm sharing. So it's not always about the Speedo, guys. Oh my God. I am so sick of hearing that. In fact, do you guys know that you can hurt yourself by using Speedos first, and you only have a few? Because when you send a Speedo down, that fish will turn off if you miss it, and you won't eat anything else. Think about it. So I got this awesome review from John about the course, and it goes like this. This is fun. I just love getting these type of reviews. The lessons are awesome. He signed up for all of them. He cuts through the BS. Doesn't try to get you to buy any tackle brands, and like the so-called experts on Instagram. Thanks, John. I really appreciate that, bud. Thank you so much. So I am not sponsored. I share what I use. Whether you buy that's up to you. But also, too, in my courses, I'm giving other brands of rods that work very well as well to buy. I'm not sponsored. So I have custom rods built for myself, and if you choose to select those rods and want to have them built and wait for them and stuff, then that's cool. So I'll give you the information and the price, and there you go. That's all I got, guys. I hope that you guys will get signed up for the new course. I want to get you guys ready for this summer. I'm so looking forward to it. We have some new and exciting things coming for Good Karma Sportfishing, so you'll have to stay tuned. And the new courses we're going to be releasing, I have a 16-week rigging. I'm going to show you like the rigging and how I'm doing it, knots. It's 16 weeks because there's going to be like anchoring and all that stuff. That's going to fall into rigging. So drifts and like, not drifts, but setting the anchor, drift like that kind of stuff. So that's all going to fall into the 16 weeks. And So you have to stay tuned for that. That's it. Guys, if you're looking to book a trip, you can email me at goodkarmaryan@gmail.com. I have something called the Long Ass Day. It's going to be offered in the month of June only. Okay? June only. Long Ass Day of fishing. And you can email me for a price on that. I take up to amount of 3 people. It's a long ass day. Up to 14 hours, 15 hours. Long day of fishing. You clean the fish. That's the only way that I will book a long day. Is you got to bring a cooler and you got to take them with you, because I'm not cleaning the fish after a long day. As I'm 100% focused on fishing on that long ass day of charter. So fish cleaning is included with the 6-hour and the 8-hour trip, but not the long ass day. So, but I do appreciate the guys that are bringing their coolers and now understand the time that it takes to clean fish. And a lot of guys like to clean their own fish because they're watching Instagram and learning how to cut fish, and it's just cool to see guys like really wanting to learn. And part of it is fish cleaning, learning the anatomy of the fish, and will help you become a better fisherman. So, and plus you get to clean the fish for how you like it. And one tip I want to share at the end with you guys is something I learned from my client. And that is to bring a jug of an empty like milk jug with you, and fill up the jug while we're out there with fresh salt water, and bring it back with you. Okay, bring the jug with you. You're more than welcome to. I don't have room for that and don't do this, but it's what I would recommend. And then you can bring the jug, you fill it up with salt water, you take it back with you at the dock, and then you have the ice, and then you can put your fillets on that. So I would highly recommend that you do that. It doesn't, bring a jug with you, and that will really help. Then it's good for transporting those fish home. So you can follow me on Instagram at Good Karma Sportfishing _FL_keys. And yeah, stay tuned for all this fun stuff we got coming up. Thanks for tuning in, guys. And remember, anytime you're fishing, it's all good.